Jen Polson. I'm excited to welcome you here to this inspiring conversation, and especially I'm excited to welcome my friend Sarah Curatella. And I've known Sarah for a few years, and what I know about her is that she has a really caring heart. She's a great mom, and she's always just, her heart is into helping people. And so I'm really excited to have her on this little conversation today. So we're going to talk about what she does, and she is a legal nurse consultant. And so I'm just going to basically turn the time to her to let her talk about what inspired her to go into nursing and what inspired her to go into having her own business as a legal nurse consultant. So Sarah, welcome.
Hi, Jen. Thanks so much for inviting me. This is wonderful.
Oh, it's so fun. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us, how did you get interested in going into nursing?
Actually, my dad gets the credit for that, honestly. I actually went to school to be a beautician first. And then, you know, once you figure out you want to move out and get on your own, and that doesn't really pay the bills right up front. You have to wait till you get clientele. I was quite frustrated. So my dad said, hey, why don't you be a nurse? You could do anything forever, anytime you want, anywhere you go. And I was like, I don't know. So I tried it. I started out as an LPN. Then I went back to school and got my RN, and now I'm just about to finish my bachelor's, so I'm excited about that. I've been in nursing for over 20 years now. That kind of tells you my age, I guess.
Well, you look great. You don't look like you could be doing a career for 20 years.
Well, thank you. So I've worked my way up the ladder. You know, I started out as a med nurse. I did restorative nursing for a very long time, wound care nursing. Those were actually my specialties. And then nurse management. Once I got into RN school and finished that, I did some nurse management. When I moved to Birmingham about 8 years ago, I was administrator for assisted living and memory care facility here in Hoover, Alabama. And I decided that, you know, I love to help people. I want to make a difference in the healthcare field, especially in geriatrics, long-term care. And you know, legal nurse consulting is a really good way for me to kind of advocate for the population, geriatric population, and nursing, and you know, help people to see what's the right thing to do. You know, what's right, what's wrong, and you know, when you have these lawsuits that you know occur and you win and you show that these things aren't right, sometimes you get other things changed in the healthcare system. So that's kind of why I went into that. It's a different way for me to help on a different side of the, you know, of the spectrum.
Cool. What's like one of the main problems that you come up against as far as, like, your specialty is in geriatrics? So what's like a main problem that occurs that someone would need your services for?
So attorneys that have hired me, usually they're cases where you have someone who's had multiple skin breakdowns, pressure ulcers that resulted in infection and sepsis, and then the patient passes away. The families feel like the facilities that they were in didn't care for them properly. And so then I investigate that to see, you know, what the facts are of the case. Sometimes things are inevitable and everything was done that can be done, but sometimes that's not the case. And when it's not the case, then I say, well, here's where, you know, this should have happened or this should have happened, which could have caused a difference in the outcome. Every case is different, of course, and you got to look at the whole big picture. So that's kind of where I look for. Those are some of the cases, but there's also abuse cases that, you know, you might see happening. A lot of times dehydration and sepsis also, not even any skin breakdown. Those are common things that happen in facilities also. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be anybody in a facility. It's just various things that happen that cause negative outcomes. Were those things done correctly? Could that negative outcome have been prevented?
Right. Okay. So as a legal nurse consultant, what kind of services do you offer within your business?
So I can be a consultant to the staff, to the attorney and the staff, or I can be a testifying expert where I actually get on the stand and say, you know, my expert opinion about the situation. Those are two different roles that a legal nurse consultant can do. I review the medical records for the attorneys, and I can organize them and put them in, you know, in order for them to be able to read them, because medical records are all jumbled up in all different ways. They're hard to read. And then once I can do that, I interpret it for them. So I can say, this is what this means, this is what this means. Here are the nurse's notes, here's the physician's progress notes, here are the, you know, doctor's orders, and then also what the pharmacies have to say. Also understanding the regulations for long-term care, if it's a long-term care case, or understanding the rights for seniors now, educating the attorney so that when he goes to court, he or she, then they completely understand what's going on, and they know how to, you know, make their case, you know.
Right.
So those are some of the services. I can also help find expert witnesses, whether that be testifying physician or, you know, nurse, or depending on what the case is, what the needs are.
Cool. One of the things that I love about you is you have like this really calmness about you. So I think it's so amazing. I would imagine when things get to a point where you're at a legal situation, that the stress levels are high and people's emotions are on high alert, and to have someone like you come in and like just you're naturally calm and sweet and super professional, but being able to bring that into what you know, your expertise, I think is an amazing gift. So I think that's really cool. So, so tell us who your ideal client is.
Right now my ideal client is anyone that is working on long-term care litigation. So nursing home cases, assisted living cases, anybody that's geriatric, that maybe maybe they live at home, but they have situations with their care through their physicians, through what happens in the hospital. So geriatrics is my specialty. But really, as a nurse, I can review any case and give my professional opinion from a generalized nursing standpoint. I do have connections with other legal nurse consultant specialists. So if somebody's looking for something in the emergency room or 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 something like that, and it's, you know, needs that specialty, I can find that for them also. But geriatrics is my personal specialty, and that's what I've been working on.
Okay, cool. So you live in Alabama, but do you only work with people that are in Alabama?
I don't. I can actually work with anyone in any of the states in the United States. And, you know, a lot of times everything's electronic, so all of the medical records can be reviewed electronically. I can give telephone reports initially over the phone, and then if the physician wants any written reports after that, then we can move from there. So all of those things can be done, you know, through other ways of communication. The only time I would need to be in another state is if they actually needed me as a testifying expert, and that can happen. That doesn't happen very often, but that can happen. I would be available for those things as well. But otherwise, just to review the case, give my opinion, write up reports, I can do that through electronic filing and through conversations over the phone.
Okay, so I'm gonna toss a question in here that we didn't have discussed before. So what if, like, because, you know, I see my parents, they're getting older, and I mean, not old enough to need care yet, but, you know, if someone in our audience is, you know, like has an older parent that lives with them, or has an older parent that's in a care facility, like what would be like your best advice or your best tips on how to make sure that everything is just that they're getting the best care possible, like not only in a physical way, but like a mental and emotional way as well?
Oh, that's a huge question. And actually, I'm a geriatric care manager also. So, I like being able to tell people that a geriatric care manager can help them hold their hand through those things. But in general, number one, you want to make sure your parents are happy, okay? Make sure that they're living the life that they want to live. It's about them, not about you. Make sure that your physicians are listening to you, listening to your loved ones. When you go into the doctor's office and you've got your list of questions ready, if that physician is not taking time and listening to you and not answering things appropriately, that might not be the physician that's in the best interest for your loved one. So those are huge, okay? In the home, if you're having to have sitters or anything, make sure that your loved ones are happy with those sitters. Constantly always reevaluate that. Spot checks for those things. Making sure that you're giving all the information of what you want those sitters to be, working with your loved one on. As far as the facility goes, all of those things, same things apply, but you're working with a much larger staff there. And so communication is the key. Making sure that you're checking, are they happy? Do they look well groomed and taken care of? If there's ever any issues that you're having, you have to address it right up front, and don't be afraid to say something, because they're there to be cared for. A lot of times people don't want to say anything because they're afraid they're going to get kicked out or they're going to be retaliated against, and that is not the case. If you don't say anything, nothing gets done about it. There's no opportunities to correct any issues.
Right.
But make sure that you're giving your loved one what they want.
Cool. I love that. That's such great advice. And a lot of times we don't, it's not something that we think about or want to think about, or, until it's like right there. And no, it feels like you don't get coached on that kind of stuff as you age, So I love those tips. Those are really important, I think. Okay, so if people want to get a hold of you for more information about what you do, or for a consultation or to hire you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I do have a website. It's www.sarahc-associates-llc.com. And when you get on there and you look at my website, there's actually an area where you can type in your name and number, and then it'll send me a direct email and I can get back with you. But if you want to call me, my phone number is 205-379-8958.
Awesome. And we'll post that website as on a slide so that people can get that. It's kind of long, so no problems. We'll provide that for everyone. So okay, well, thank you so much. It's been so fun. I just love these little conversations that we're having, because I feel like we're introducing the world to people who are making a difference. And you're definitely one of those people. You're definitely a bright spot in the world, and to have someone like you on your side to help with any kind of issues with aging parents, or any kind of just any kind of legal issues in the healthcare field. It's good to have someone that can shine some light on a stressful situation. So
well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'll look forward to going to lunch soon.
Okay, great.
All right. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.